They say university makes students, here students make university. So with the slogan of Think Big, I, Himanshi Kaushik, your host of the day, would want to welcome you all in today's webinar on consumer protection laws in India and its significance. And I hope that you all are doing fine, safe, sound, and happy at wherever you're taking this session from. So before we move on and learn a lot more about the consumer protection laws and what are the significances in India and other countries as well, we have our expert here with us. We have Dr. Mohammad Rafiq Dar, an assistant professor at Lovely Professional University in School of Law here with us. He is having more than 10 years of working experience of being a teacher at various institutes, and apart from this, he has been interested in law practice like legal drafting, litigation management, technical know-hows, moot court coach, last but not the least, Supreme Court or educational tour organizer. He has over 9 research articles published in Journal of Repute and has been a part of various seminars and conferences here. So, sir, with this, I would want to welcome you in the webinar. And before I urge you to request, before I request you to carry on with the session, I want all the participants to know that now you can post in your queries in the chat box or the Q&A box, or at the end of the session, you can raise your hand so that we can allow you to talk to our experts directly. And with this, sir, I hand over screen to you and looking forward for an amazing session.
Thank you, Himanshi. While talking about consumer protection is a social welfare legislation. So people at large are affected by this law. Rather, uh, uh, its utilization is that it seeks welfare of common masses. Since right from the birth up to our death, we are consumers in one way or the other way. So it has rather more importance in our lives, since right from morning up to when we sleep or post sleep, we are consumers in one or the other way. We consume things in shape of commodities, and we take services as well. Before passage of Consumer Protection Act in 1986, there were certain provisions regarding protection of consumer in various laws, in Indian Contract Act, in Indian Penal Code, and various other acts. But there was not a comprehensive legislation regarding consumer protection. Since the times have changed and there is there is a boom in trade, and so there are violations of consumer rights as well. Since in the ancient times, the people were regulating themselves by, since the people led their virtuous life. If we go to the ancient India, we see right from the uh, kings up to medieval age, and then the Britishers. The kings of ancient India, they were themselves regulating these affairs. So there was least violation of consumer rights, and people were also uh, conscious of that they were thinking that it's a virtue uh, to supply, to produce things which are better for the human life, and they were interdependent. So people were living a life, and actually it was also the reason that the needs were less of the people, so they do not depend upon
Sir,
the outside markets.
sir,
So yeah,
uh, I'm very sorry to interrupt, sir, but your voice is too low, sir. And
okay,
yeah, there's disturbance also, sir, that's coming in. So
okay,
yeah, I want you to please little loud.
yeah. So then the medieval period, it also saw some changes at the hands of the kings who ruled here prominently prominent among them Alauddin, Balban, then the Mughal kings Akbar, Jahangir. They also regulated these affairs very much in tandem with the wishes of the people. Then the Britishers, they came to India since their interests were they wanted to satisfy their interests while coming in India. So they could not, or they did not pay any heed to the consumer rights or consumer protection. Uh, People were at the helm. People were left high and dry in terms of consumer protection, and at that very time, since the production and manufacturing was in the hands of the Britishers itself, and they were the sellers of the goods. So they were rulers as well as the sellers of goods. So there was no justice. There was no answering of them. They were minting money like me. Then came the independence, and after independence, it was only after the 30 years, that's in 1986, when actually the United Nations called for the protection of the consumer rights, which were actually announced by the then President John F. Kennedy of US. The, in the response, India also promulgated the enacted 1986 Act. It was then regarded as a Charter of Indian Citizens, Charter of the Rights of Indian Citizens, since it was for the first time that comprehensive legislation was framed for the welfare of the people, for the welfare of the consumers. So it was a very big milestone in the Indian legislative history. Uh, then times change, so law cannot remain static. Uh, when the time is changed, law has to change. So since then, from 1986 right up to 2019, many changes took place. We had developments in lifestyles, we had development in technologies. So we had to change the law. It legislature tried right from the 2005 to change the law, but due to some reasons, it could not be done up to 2009. Then, in 2019, when the Act was passed, it was only in 2019 that amendment was it necessitated the amendment. Since we are in the technological era, the technology is getting absolute day by day. So, to cope up with that technology, we need to overhaul our laws. So, 2019 Act uh, it's considered as a game changer since it included e-commerce in it as well, and various other platforms through which selling or buying is done uh, through this technology. It included all that in its envelope, and it also included many definitions. Uh, in it also included many definitions in the act itself. Uh, the product liability, which was not earlier in Indian law, that a person who manufactured any product and the harm is caused to some person, so there would have been civil law, but there was no special legislation for the product liability. Since for product liability, there is a very vast net cost which which engulfs almost the assemblers, the packagers in its net. Uh, so it gives consumers consumers are getting they have got a sort of relief that they can go against even manufacturers or the sellers for the product liability, which was earlier not there. Then if we go to the uh, authorities under the authorities under the Act have been changed as well since consumer protection redressal agencies were there. Then consumer protection councils were also there. But this consumer protection authorities were not in the earlier Act. Consumer protection councils are only the advisory bodies headed by the ministries of consumer affairs, whether they are central consumer protection council or state consumer protection council or district consumer protection council. These are headed by the ministries of consumer affairs and then the district administration in the district. So they are only the advisory bodies and they are overburdened by their usual work. So it's only an advisory body. But the Consumer Protection Authority, it has been given to you. It is a separate body established by the government, a central consumer protection authority in at central level, and then state consumer protection authority at state level, and the district consumer protection authority at district level. So they can on their own they have given so moto they have been given very residual powers wherein they could so moto take cognizance of many things which a common man does not pay heed because of ignorance or uh, because of inactiveness. They can they can take action on producers, manufacturers if they are violating, if they are if they violate the law, if they are violating the law. Then we have consumer redressal agencies. At district level, we have district commissions. At state level, we have state commissions, and then at national level, we have national commissions. In 2019, when the act was passed, it gave a peculiar jurisdiction of 1 crore to a district commission, but it uh, it resulted in the pendency of many cases at the district level. Then in 2020, when it was amended again, and the pecuniary jurisdiction was given to the district commission up to uh, 50 lakhs. Then uh, and the six consumer rights, which I was talking earlier, that the consumer rights were actually announced by the then President John F. Kennedy. Those consumer rights have been enumerated and defined under Consumer Protection Act 2019. The rights you can see on the screen is actually protection against the marketing of goods or products which are hazardous to life. Even a public security citizen can, if he is aware of his informed of it, or he comes to know that certain goods which are hazardous life and property are being sold, he can also register a complaint. State government can itself register a complaint, an NGO can register a complaint. Then right to information is very vital right in consumer protection. Uh, Information about quality, quantity, potency, purity, and standard and prices of goods. When people have information, they are powerful. If consumers do not have information about products, their price, their quality, and if it is not their right, they then it will become useless since they will use the products and only after using the products they will come to know that this much was the quantity of this thing and that thing. So this right is a prerequisite since consumers should be informed beforehand what are the uh, uh, quantities about or quality. Then access. Black marketing is prohibited.
Sir,
Uh, yes.
sir, your voice is, I mean, it is not audible properly. So you need to be a little louder. Or sir, we
Okay.
can, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. Is it audible now? Okay. So consumer rights also include that we should have access to a variety of goods, products, or services at competitive prices. So black marketing or restrictive trade practices or hoarding, they are all violative of Consumer Protection Act. Then there is right of hearing, right to be heard. If there is violation of consumer rights, the consumers have got right, they can approach the consumer forums uh, to redress the grievances. Then consumer awareness is also one of the rights, since you all will be knowing about Jago Grahak Jago. It's actually the right of the consumers, which is being done by the Consumer Affairs Department. They are time and again coming with the advertisements. You will be also observing advertisements of RBI, Jankar Bano. So all these things actually they are for the consumers. And then we have got the e-commerce. For e-commerce, separate rules have been uh, framed, uh, which require e-commerce platforms that there should be a compliance officer who is an Indian resident. Whether the company is of Indian origin or it's of foreign origin, if it is operating in India or if it is selling its products to India, Indian citizens, then it should have a compliance officer uh, who is an Indian resident. The duty of the compliance officer is to look whether the company is complying all the rules and regulations, so that later on company will not take any defense of or excuse of uh, not knowing the rules and regulations. Number two, establishment of consumer grievances in companies itself, in e-commerce platforms itself. There they should appoint a nodal officer. Again, it was amended into 2021 that the nodal officer should also be the resident of the India. Uh, the consumer grievances, it should be redressed by the e-platforms within 48 hours of making complaint. Then there is disclosure. Information disclosure about the quality, quantity, the place of work, the email ID, the uh, the company should disclose the information which a consumer requires. Um, a consumer is buying any, for example, consumer is buying any product from an e-platform which actually has been uh, bought by the company from any seller. So this consumer wants to know about who actually the manufacturer is. So these information should be provided. You'll be looking in the Amazon, since Amazon does not manufacture anything. It's only a service portal. It's the products are actually manufactured by manufacturers, and they sell their products through Amazon. But you'll see that there is a detailed description about who has manufactured this product. Then the pricing, purchase, refund, and cancellation. They cannot refuse refunds. They cannot refuse cancellations. They cannot refuse. They should be transparent about price. They should be transparent about purchase. They should be transparent about transport charges. Then the steps to prevent violation of IPR. Since IPR, they are. Am I
Sir,
audible?
no, sir, your voice, I mean, there's a lot of disturbance. So we can just try to remove the headphones and we can just speak with the computer audio. Is that possible?
Okay.
Yeah, as in you need to remove, I mean, you need to remove the permission also from the laptop. Or we can be a little louder, sir, because everyone is asking in the chat box. They're not able to hear and
Oh,
understand.
okay, ma'am. One sec. I'll connect by the wired uh,
Yeah.
wired.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. And meanwhile, sir is, I mean, mending the audio issue. I want all of you to write in the chat box how, I mean, is there any question that you want to ask, any query? today? Samreen, Pravleen, Pooja, Tushar. Anyone who has any query, you can write in the chat box or Q&A box. I'm waiting for the queries, guys. Basic concept of CPS. Sure, I'm gonna ask sir, and he will be, of course, telling and resolving the query. If anyone has any thought, like, what do you think of the, you know, the slides that sir is maybe explaining you? You can maybe write it down in the chat box, like the thought that you have, and if you maybe have any contrary thoughts to what sir is saying, you can just put in your point, and we can have a little debate about the things. Okay, okay, Dev, I have got the question, and I'm gonna ask. Okay, Tushar, that's great. So it's clear. Okay. Anyone who has any other question apart from Dev? Anyone who has any query, your thoughts, anything that you would want to share regarding the topic? Anything that you've heard in the news, and you want to just have a little clarification from an expert here? You can do that, so that it just benefits all the students here, all the participants. Sir, are we good to go? Sir, you're on mute, sir. You're on mute. Sir, you're on mute.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, I believe I just want all to please reply. Is the audio clear?
Is the audio clear?
It is clear, sir. It is clear.
Okay. So I was talking about Consumer Protection Rules 2020, which provide for that a company should, e-commerce platform, they should have compliance officer who should be an Indian resident. Then the establishment of consumer grievance at the platform itself, having nodal officer, being an Indian resident, then information disclosure about various things, the manufacturer of the goods, the price, then the refunds and cancellation if consumer is canceling his shopping, or he wants to take refund. So these all things should be provided by the company. They should not refuse refunds. They should not refuse cancellations. Then there should be steps to prevent violation of IPR. Since IPRs are the vital rights, sometimes company may pass goods, some sellers or some manufacturers may pass goods under some other's trademark. So they should keep vigil on that. It's their duty that there should not be infringement of the IPR rights. Then sellers should refrain from misrepresenting themselves. There are reviews on the products, so they should not misrepresent themselves as consumers and posting reviews about goods and services or their prices, their quality, that this is a fine quality, this is a very good quality. We'll be looking at the apps, many applications, the mobile applications. There are reviews below the application. Everybody is free to give his review, give his feedback. But when it is the seller itself, so they will be always supporting themselves, and they will be giving, if they are allowed to misrepresent, they will be misrepresenting as customers, and then they will be giving good reviews, and it will definitely become trap for other consumers as well, and they will definitely bought their goods. Penalty for contravention of rules. There's a penalty for contravention of rules if there is any of these rules under Section 94. Consumer Protection Council, I have already discussed that it's a Ministry of Consumer Affairs, and there are official and non-official members nominated by the President in Central Consumer Protection Council with the approval of the Prime Minister. And then State Council, there are Ministry of State Consumer Affairs, and then the members as well, nominated by and certain nominated central members as well. Then District Consumer Protection Council, we have collectors at district level at the administrative post. They are their chairman, and then certain members are there also. The consumer protection, then we'll come to the consumer protection authority. Actually, consumer protection authority is not an advisory body, it's a legal body, and it has got powers and functions as well. Since consumer protection council has also got the functions, they can advise on the consumer issues, but they cannot take any action on the violations of the consumer rights. But the central consumer protection authority, they can take cognizance of these things. Their objective is to regulate matters relating to violation of rights of consumers, unfair trade practice, false or misleading advertisements, which are prejudicial to the interests of public and consumers, and to promote and protect the enforce the rights of consumers. The purpose is to conduct an inquiry or investigation. The inquiries or investigation made by Director General should be submitted to Consumer Protection Authority, Central Consumer Protection Authority. Then they have investigation wings also, whether it's a central authority, whether it is a state authority or it's district authority. They have their investigation wings. Then the nature of complaints which can be made to these authorities, it's violation of consumer rights, unfair trade practice, or false or misleading advertisements. So these violation of consumer rights at the collective level, unfair trade practices at the collective level, false or misleading advertisements, these are collective, actually collective violations of the consumer rights, which are prejudicial to the interests of the consumers as a class. And these are to be made to district collector, commissioner of regional office of central authority, or regional authority, the state authority, and then central authority. They have power of inquiry and investigation. The district collector at the state level, district level, at the state level, we have commissioner of regional office, and then at the central level, we have the officers designated for that. The function is to protect, promote, and enforce rights of consumers as a class, including prevention of violation of such rights, to prevent unfair trade practice, to ensure no person engages in unfair trade practices, no false or misleading advertisement is made of any goods or services, no person takes part in publication of false or misleading advertisements. There are various other functions. So I'll come to the powers. They have powers to refer matters relating to violation of rights of consumers, unfair trade practice, or false or misleading advertisements for investigation to other regulators established by the Act, which is dealt under Section 19 of the Act itself, to resale goods or withdrawal of services. Since doing all these things, they will be sometimes seizing the goods. They are empowered to resale the goods or withdrawal of services which are dangerous, hazardous, or unsafe, or they can reimburse the price of goods or service to consumers of goods which they have collected from the erring traders. Then to discontinue the services prejudicial to consumer interests, to impose penalties of false or misleading advertisement upon manufacturer or an endorser up to a maximum of ₹10 lakh. The officers, Directorate General, have been vested with the power to, and then Deputy Collector and Commissioner of Regional Office, they have been vested with the powers. These powers are analogous to the powers conferred under under CRPC. Under CRPC, the authorities have power of search, seizure. These powers are also with them. They can search any premises, they can seize the documents there, they can seize the goods, they can seize the services, they can seize the resources used for the service, for example, computer resources, the storage devices, they can seize all those. This was a reversal commission at district level. I have already discussed that. There is commission, then there is state commission, and then we have national commission. The jurisdiction, pecuniary jurisdiction of this commission shall not be more than ₹50 lakh. At state commission, from 50 lakh up to 2 crores, and national commission above 2 crores. But the very vital thing relating to the cause of action or the filing of the complaints, which was changed by the 2019 Act, is that a complainant can file complaint where he resides. It was first the place of the defendant or the work of the
defendant, workplace of the defendant, now or where the cause of action has arisen. Apart from those things are there as well, but it's also a complainant can file complaint within the territorial jurisdiction of commission where the complainant resides. जहां वो खुद रहता है, जहां वो खुद काम करता है, वहां भी वो there he can also file the complaint. The limitation period for filing an appeal to state commission, it's actually appeal when we are appealing the decision of the district commission to the state commission. It's 45 days from the date of order. Earlier it was 30 days from the date of order. Section 69 talks about limitation period. Since if today I have cause of action any, for example, I have bought my cell phone today, and after 2 days, I found some defect in it. So at that very day, my cause of action has arisen. From that day, within 2 years, I can file complaint. It can be filed in district commission. Now it will depend upon what is the pecuniary jurisdiction of the. Maybe the phone is very, it's very costly. So, or then I am claiming compensation, a very, very good compensation, more than 50 lakhs. Then I have to go to the state commission. Or if I am claiming compensation more than 2 crores, then I have to go to the national commission. If I am not able to file it within 2 years, then if I am showing or if I am proving that there was sufficient cause for me not to file the complaint within those 2 years, then that delay can be condoned. But the commission, whether it is district commission, state commission, or national commission, they have to record the reasons why they have condoned the delay. Then it's actually the fee which a consumer should pay while making consumer complaint. Up to 1 lakh rupees if the complaint is being made by the person who is a BPL living below poverty line and holding AAY card, Antyodaya Anna Yojana cards, then the fee is nil. If it is up to 10,000 rupees only by any person, then it's nil. If it is up to 1 lakh rupees for complainants who are other than AAY card holders, they are living below poverty line, but they do not have Antyodaya Anna Yojana card holders. These are actually the ration cards which are being issued by the government. So then rupees 100 for 1 lakh rupees. Then if it's above 1 lakh and up to 5 lakh rupees, then 500 rupees. Above 5 nominal fee is there. 5 lakh rupees and up to 10 lakh rupees. Above 5 lakh and up to 10 lakh rupees, 1,000 rupees. Above 10 lakh and up to 20 lakh rupees, 2,000 rupees. Then in state commission, when it's above 20 lakh and up to 50 lakh rupees, 5,000 rupees. Above 50 lakh and up to 1 crore rupees, 10,000 rupees. Above 1 crore rupees, 25,000 rupees. Above in national commission, above 5 crore rupees, 5,000. Above 10 crore rupees, 1 lakh. The title is Consumer Protection Laws in India and their significance. The significance of consumer protection laws can be clarified by first enumerating the issues and challenges which are on the ground level faced by the enforcement agencies, the state itself, which makes it impossible to have 100% consumer protection. The first one is information asymmetry. Many of our consumers do not have equal information. Many of them are less informed about whether it's law, whether it's products, whether it's any other universal agency. They are very less informed. When consumers make purchase decisions, consumers like to know three pieces of information: the price of product, quality of product, and the terms of trade. If consumer is imperfectly informed, his rights will be, there is chance that his rights will be violated. The consumers are imperfectly informed, they may not have the full or any details about these three pieces of information. Information asymmetry puts consumers in a disadvantageous position and they are vulnerable to the exploitation. Information asymmetry is found more in financial services, telecom, and e-commerce. Since these services, telecom and e-commerce and financial services, they are very complicated services, and the rules therein are very also complicated, and the to avail these services is a cumbersome procedure. So consumers never know the charges for forms, for then taking services, then charges of add-on services in telecom services. So if we are less informed about those things, we'll be definitely, our rights will be definitely violated. Since these are the fastest growing sectors in India, there's an increasing number of violations in these services. Then we have got reversal mechanism. We have very robust reversal mechanism, but the consumers in India, most of the consumers, most of the people fear to go to the court of law. They fear that they have that thinking that will not get justice in time. Since the consumer protection is it's providing a framework of speedy justice, yet we need to convince our masses. We need to convince our masses that it can be done in a very time-bound manner. So up to 2019 Act, there was no system of ADR system in place. Since now mediation can also be done, which will take less time than, the ordinary consumer proceedings. Yet there are some things which are to be done, which should be done by the state. That's this ADR system is again under the control of the consumer courts. So they are again burdened with this. Since they are having their usual course of business with them, then they are also burdened with the mediation, and it takes much time than prescribed in the act. It becomes long, it becomes cumbersome, it becomes time-consuming legal process, and then consumers sometimes they feel inactive. They feel that it should be fruitless to make a complaint. So then a lack of understanding about legal intricacies also there. Since our consumers, many consumers are doing, even laymen, I mean to say those who are not from the field of law, they do not know much about the consumer, not to talk of those who are illiterate. So when they are not knowing their rights, when they are not knowing how to enforce those rights, they will be definitely, their rights definitely will be violated. So again, then we have another issue, that's data protection and privacy. Since 2 days before, the Union Cabinet has passed a digital personal data protection bill, but it will take some time to see the operation of this bill. We share our data with the companies, with the e-shopping portals. We have no security of that data. Our data is being sold to other companies as well. So this is also one of the issues which should be addressed, since I already mentioned also that the Union Cabinet has passed a digital personal data protection bill, but it's a very, very long way to go to say whether there are some loopholes in it or not. Then quality standards for the goods or services. The quality standards are more of voluntary nature, means very less standards are of mandatory nature, where the products or the services are to be certified by these standards. We have Bureau of Indian Standards. In food, we have Food Safety Standards Act. Uh, but the mechanism, the machinery which has been adopted under these acts, uh, given the number of trade outlets, the authorities will not be able to see every violation, observe every, and it's only when the consumers complain, since we do not heed about it. If my rights are not violated, I'll not heed that I should complain. Some other's right has been violated, so I should complain about it. We will not. So we should also reform our standards. It should be made mandatory for every product and every service that it should be standardized by these quality standardization. Then there are vulnerable consumer groups. We have children, we have women, and we have elderly people and illiterate who are very vulnerable. Then they will fall into the trap of these unscrupulous traders, mostly on the digital platform, where of the nuances of the digital platform, they are very technical in nature. We are uh, most of the people do not understand uh, how to operate upon the digital platform. So again, the privacy of the children or the abuse of the children may be one of the issues which should be tackled. Then we have large and diverse population. We have large population, but it's also diverse. People have got different ideas, people have got different thinking, and people are of different cultures and diversities. India has population of 1.42 billion people. It's making it very difficult for the authorities, enforcement authorities, to reach to the every citizen. So we need to do more campaigning for awareness so that people themselves come to the law. The law is unable to go to the people, but we should make the platform, we should work that people should come to the law themselves. Then we have language and literacy barriers as well, as we have already, since it's a multilingual country. So when we try to disseminate information, we'll disseminate in English or we'll disseminate in Hindi, but many people do not understand English, many people do not understand Hindi. So again, we need to do it at local levels. So when we are making awareness or when we are making rules, we should disseminate those things in local language itself, so that we could do the reach to every individual. Then rural-urban divide, since accessibility is one of the problems, that it's very difficult to reach to the difficult terrains, since there is less opportunity and less institutions working in the rural areas. So at the individual level, there are very few people who are working on these issues. So more and more people, as students of law, we should, if we are coming from rural areas or we are coming from urban areas, we should do we should aware our people about these rights. We should go door-to-door campaign should be made, at least for the students of the law. They are all students of law. I am considering myself as a student of law. We can use social media as well, since we can use television, we can use radio, and we can use other means of communication as well to reach to the people, to make them understand. Local people can be very helpful for us, since they know the language, since they know the culture. So they will be more in a position to make the people understand. Then we have aging population. Since with the aging, the people become inactive. We have aging population, about 138 million elderly population in India. So older people tend to be vulnerable of these they can be defrauded easily. Then socio-economic disparities. Since our society is, we have low income groups, we have caste system, we have then economic, we have many economic groups. It's not only that we have 2 or 3 groups. We divide our economic groups right from AAY up to APL. So there are many economic groups which also makes it a hindrance to collectively take the people on the single table. So we need to shun, first we need to shun all these disparities which are actually the way backward things, caste system or the regionalism or linguism. We should all shun these things. We should work together in tandem in order to get most out of the laws so that we can live a better life. Then there are certain suggestions. Addressing these challenges requires a tailored approaches, which I was also mentioning in between, that the diverse need that consider diverse needs and demographics of the population. Since we have the demography of the country is very diverse as well. We can include targeted awareness campaigns, simplified information, which can be disseminated in multiple languages, leveraging technology for outreach in remote areas, ensuring accessibility and inclusivity, consumer protection mechanisms, and collaboration with government as well. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Before I move on to the questions that our students has given here, I just would like to extend my thanks to you, sir, for coming in and
Thank you very much.
for giving this an insightful presentation. Sir, this question came from Tushar Sharma, and it says, sir, what can we do if any e-commerce website refuse to refund us?
We can make that complaint in consumer court itself. Since it has already been made necessary, that they should not refuse refund. But one thing should be kept in mind, that there is a time limit when you can refund. Up to what days you can refund the money. You are using that product or you are not using that product. You are putting it in your cupboard, and then after 1 year you think that I should give it back. No, that's not the way. You should, within that time limit, if you are within that time limit claiming refund and they are refusing it, then a simple consumer complaint can be made.
Sir, I believe consumer complaint can be made, to the issues where somebody has promised you something but has not fulfilled that. For example, if any organization that doesn't give you your due salary or whatever, so you can also go to the consumer court. Right?
First is that there is a grievance cell in every e-platform.
Okay.
First, we have to make our grievance to them. And if they fail to do it, then we can go to the consumer court.
Okay.
We can e-file our consumer complaint as well.
Sure, sir. And so we have another question from Dave Mishra. So he just wants to know what is the basic concept of CPA and what's the relation with caveat emptor. I mean, he just put in this question. If you could please.
Consumer protection authorities, I told you that they are the legal authorities. They have got powers that they can take. Now, what was it? Caveat emptor.
Caveat emptor, yeah.
Now the term has changed. It has become caveat venditor. Caveat emptor means buyers beware. Before consumer protection, it was in the sale of goods that a buyer should himself look what he needs. He should be aware of the thing what he wants to. He should be aware. He should not be. He should be careful while buying. Now, since most of the goods are coming in packages, how could you be able to do that before using it? You can't observe the contents. So the term has changed. It has become caveat venditor. Vendor is seller. Sellers beware. Now sellers should beware that they should not sell those products which are harmful, which are defective.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. The connection with CPA. The connection with CPA is that they are able to make the components of those things which are affecting the class, society as a class, consumers as a class. The individual can make his complaint on his own, but there are certain, for example, black marketing, unfair trade practices are going on. They will take care of them.
Okay, so thank you so much. And I know there was a little issue regarding the voice, but then it got cleared, and I believe. Okay, so participant. Okay. So there is this question of participation certificate. Students right now we do not give as such, but of course we have put in this suggestion to the team, and maybe next time from the next webinar you must be getting that certificate that you have participated and attended the session. And with this, sir, I would want to take your permission to wrap this webinar. Can I?
You have permission. I am very much thankful to you that you did it with patience. I was not able to connect. So thank you very much. I'll be looking forward for more of these sessions.
Sure, sir. Sure. Indeed, we also are looking forward for the sessions. And thank you, sir, for coming in here and for resolving the queries, for giving your inputs the way you've explained. And our participants are already saying thanks to you. And I would like to
thank you. I thank all the participants and the coordinator as well.
Same. I want to thank participants as well for coming in, for putting in your queries, and for being so interactive. If they face any problem, they did let us know in the chat box. So thank you so much. So with this, I take your leave. Meet you soon in the next webinar. Stay safe and stay happy. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much.